Creating columns for on-ground sections. If you teach an on-ground course, this tutorial will illustrate how to create and/or edit columns. At times, if you prefer students to submit assignments electronically, you will also need to view creating columns for online hybrid instructors and creating assignments. The process for those course sections requires assignment building in the weekly units. When performing the instructor functions, ensure edit mode is on. To get started, locate your full grade center. You should now have opened your grade center to see the following. From the main grade center screen, take note of the following menu: Create column, Create calculated column, Manage, and Reports. This is a navigation tool invisible to students that allow instructors to personalize their gradebook, and upon completing its setup, control what is or is not visible to students. Columns are located in the main screen of your full grade center. Columns are essentially all graded items within your course. Regardless of the section you teach, you will always have 6 default columns: last name, first name, username, student ID, last access, and availability are the default columns, and they cannot be edited or deleted. These fields are populated as students enroll in your section. If you teach an on-ground course, with the exception of default columns, you may only see one column, weighted total. To add a column, select Create Column from the Full Grade Center main menu. You will now be taken to the Grade Center column screen. You will now be taken to the Create Grade Column screen. There are 2 required fields needed to create a column: column name and points possible. Let's learn the features of this page before we create our first column. Column name. Enter the name of your graded item. For example, Week 1 discussion. Grade Center name. You have the option to name an item in your Grade Center that will only be displayed there. By all means, this can be left blank. Description. In this section, it's optional. A description can be entered to help instructors and other graders identify the column. Most of the time, the column name is more than enough to identify the graded item. Primary display. You can select from a drop-down menu the grade format shown in the Grade Center to students. Options include score, text, percentage, letter, and complete and incomplete. It is recommended to set your primary display as percentage. You have the option to display an additional grade format, secondary display. It will be visible in the Grade Center only and will appear to students in parentheses. For example, 100% parentheses A. Category. You can classify Grade Center columns based on the type of assignment. If you have weekly discussions, quizzes, and assignments, they can be assigned their appropriate category in this section. If you weigh final grades, you will be able to select that category versus the assignments individually to specify their weights. Points possible. This is a required field. Entries must be numeric. Goodwin College graded items should be 100 possible points. Rubrics can now be made visible. You are able to link an existing or create a new rubric in your course. Dates. In this section, you have the ability to associate the column to an available grading period. The grading period will only show if grading periods have been created. Due date. Columns that are assigned a due date are automatically associated with a grading period if it falls within the grading period. I will define these options, but they are applicable only when grading periods are set up. This is one option in the Blackboard shells, that we are not currently using. Dates. In this section, you have the ability to associate the column to an available grading period. The grading period list will only show if grading periods have been created. Due date. Columns that are assigned a due date are automatically associated with a grading period if it falls within the grading period range. Options. These options are pre-selected and can be changed to suit your grading preference. Include this column in other grade center calculations. Makes it possible to weigh this column in other calculated columns, such as weighted total. Show this column to students and show statistics, average and median, for this column to students in my grades are two control features to limit and or make available what information students can see. Now let's create a column. We will start from the beginning in your full Grade Center main menu. Select Create Column. Now that we're on the Create Grade column, I'll start entering the following information. Enter the column name. For this example, we will use Week 1 discussion. From the drop-down menu, I have selected percentage. Since I have already set up my categories, as I begin to create my columns, I can also assign graded items to their appropriate category. You do not have to do this now. However, you will need to do this once you have set up your weighted column. This way, each graded item is assigned the correct weight. There are 100 possible points for this assignment. Be certain that all grade items out of 100 possible points. Yes, it can be argued that discussions weigh a small portion of a student's grade, and that will be taken care of when you set up your weighted total column. Click Submit. You will now return back to the main page of the full Grade Center. The column in which you have created will now be visible on the gray bar located alongside the other default columns.